Do you want to go skinny dipping? Me either. Because generally skinny dipping happens in a lake. And in lakes there are bugs and creepy crawlies and hillbillies and people tubing. And there are things in the lake that I don't want to come in contact with parts of my body, but that's another story because I don't want to end up with a disease that's only known in certain parts of southern Alabama and is eventually called the cooter cooter. And I don't want to die from the cooter cooter. But anyways, skinny dips are something else entirely. Most dips that you're going to make call for half a pound of mayonnaise, 2 pounds of butter, and a pint of sour cream. I can't do any of that because, as you know, I'm maintaining 175-pound weight loss, and I don't want those 175 pounds to creep back on. If they didn't creep back on when I got pregnant with what you hear in the background, I'm not going to let them creep back on just because a bunch of grown men decide to knock each other in the head and a bad reason to end up as a quadriplegic for a sport that only people watch because of the commercials. So I'm making this sweet potato chipotle dip. It's a sweet and savory, almost like tasting something that's from somewhere else, but it's from your kitchen. And per 2 tablespoons, it's running about 38 calories, whereas even something like hummus is going to run you 70 calories per 2 tablespoons. Sorry, that's my daughter in the background, and she's having a real good time in her exercise. So this dip, you could eat a half a cup of it and still feel pretty good about your day. You're going to start with one roasted in the oven, in the skin, sweet potato, and then as soon as it comes out, I know you want to burn your fingers, peel it. The peel will slide right off. Just make sure you poke it before you put it in the oven, about 375 for about an hour. And you're going to put it in your handy dandy food processor because why would you want to do it by hand if you can do it in the food processor? Then you're going to add a dollop, and that is the scientific term, of peanut butter. It equals about 2 tablespoons for every 1 household tablespoon because since the 80s the tablespoons have grown just like the people. You're also going to add about a 1/4 cup of coconut milk. Now you could use soy milk or cow's milk, but cow's milk you're going to have to refrigerate it and be real careful at the holding temperature. But coconut milk has added good saturated fats. There are very few saturated fats on this planet that are good for you, and coconut milk is one of them. Actually, my son has to drink this in his cereal because he can't have dairy that's not fermented like yogurt or cheese. So he loves it, and it's delicious. And I use vanilla almost exclusively just because that's what I put in his cereal. But it's really delicious, and if you think, oh, I don't like coconut, it doesn't taste like coconut once it gets mixed in with everything else. So you're going to want to use a 1/4 cup of coconut milk, and not the low-fat kind. I've seen the low-fat kind on the shelves and just ignore it, walk away, run away, because it's awful, and if you don't know where that run away is from, then you don't watch enough Monty Python. And a drizzle of honey, and I'm not meaning like a tablespoon or a 1/4 cup like I've seen in some other dip recipes, but just enough to make it mean something. And if you can, use local honey because that is full of the probiotics that are naturally occurring in honey. I should say not the probiotics, but whatever that term is for what's good in the honey. Acidophilus or that's in yogurt, whatever it is. I honestly can't remember at this point. And however much chipotle you want to use. Now, if you want it to be fiery hot, I would use chipotle and cayenne. But chipotle on its own has enough heat to where it's going to really feel good in the back of your mouth. If you don't like that smoky flavor, use cayenne only. And if you're going to use cayenne, use a 1/4 teaspoon. Chipotle, you can go kind of heavy. And I probably just did a teaspoon and a half of chipotle in there. And that's plenty. And then sea salt. I wouldn't use kosher salt in this purely because of the texture of kosher salt. I'm going to use sea salt because it's fine. And it doesn't have a super salty flavor, but it lets you know that it's salt. And then you're going to do about 1/8 teaspoon of that. And you just put it on. If I can ever get this to go right, and you never get it right. And you whirl away. That made you quiet, huh? And that's literally all there is. It's every ingredient that you can pronounce. You can eat it like I have here with, these are something called Eat Your Vegetables chips. The main vegetable in these chips is potato, but they are really good. And apple slices is what I was serving them to my 3-year-old, the captain, off of. And all in all, it's just really easy, really quick, really delicious. So I hope you enjoy this recipe, and I hope you come back to breakfast to bed soon.